Listen to me, because this is not a soft word, this is a saving word. Some of you are exhausted not because life is heavy, but because your spirit has been noisy. You've been explaining yourself to people who never planned to understand you. You've been reacting to storms that were sent to distract you, not destroy you. Hear me clearly. Everything does not deserve your response. Everyone does not deserve your explanation. Every battle does not require your energy. There is a power that comes when you stop arguing with chaos. There is authority released when you master your emotions. There is victory waiting for you on the other side of calm. Because when you are calm, you can see clearly. When you are silent, you hear God clearly. And when nothing disturbs you, nothing controls you. This season is not calling for loud reactions. It is calling for inner dominion. You don't need to prove you're strong. You don't need to announce your peace. You need to be calm, stay silent, and let nothing disturb you, because your stillness is about to confuse the enemy and clarify your destiny. Calm is not weakness. Even though the world has trained us to think that the loudest voice in the room is the strongest one, calm is not surrender. Calm is not fear. Calm is not silence because you have nothing to say. Calm is the evidence that you have learned how to govern yourself. Anybody can react. Anybody can explode. Anybody can lose control when pressure shows up. But it takes strength to sit still when everything in you wants to respond. It takes power to keep your spirit steady when your emotions are being provoked. Calm is what happens when maturity shows up before impulse gets a chance to speak. There was a time when you would have clapped back immediately, when you would have defended yourself with anger, when you would have tried to prove your point with volume. But now something has shifted. You don't need to explain yourself to be validated. You don't need to fight every misunderstanding to feel secure. You don't need to raise your voice to prove your worth. Calm has taught you that your value is not determined by how people treat you, but by how you treat your own spirit under pressure. Calm is emotional authority. It means you are no longer ruled by your feelings, but you rule over them. You feel the pain, but it doesn't control you. You recognize the insult, but it doesn't own you. You see the disrespect, but it doesn't define you. When you stay calm, you are declaring that no external force has the right to hijack your inner peace. You are saying, I will not give you access to my emotions, my focus, or my future. That is not weakness. That is mastery. Spiritual maturity always shows up as restraint before reaction. It is the ability to pause and discern instead of rushing to respond. Calm allows wisdom to rise where anger would have ruined the moment. Calm creates space for clarity. In that stillness, you can hear direction. In that quiet, you can recognize what is worth your energy and what is not. Calm protects you from making permanent decisions based on temporary emotions. The truth is, some battles are designed to drain you, not defeat you. The enemy doesn't always come to destroy you outright. Sometimes it comes to disturb you, to agitate you, to provoke you into self-sabotage. Calm shuts that door. Calm refuses to dance with distraction. Calm says, I will not move just because you pushed me. When you choose calm, you are choosing growth over ego. You are choosing destiny over drama. You are choosing peace over performance. And in that choice, you rise. Because the strongest person in the room is not the one who shouts the loudest, but the one who remains steady when everything around them is shaking. Calm is your proof that you've grown, that you have learned, and that you are no longer controlled by what tries to disturb you. Silence is not emptiness, it is intention. Silence is not avoidance, it is awareness. In a world addicted to noise, reacting has become a reflex and speaking has become a way to survive emotionally. But there comes a season when wisdom teaches you that not everything deserves a reply and not everyone deserves access to your voice. Silence becomes a strategy when noise is trying to steal your focus, because focus is the currency of destiny, and anything that distracts it is expensive. There was a time when you felt the need to explain yourself to every accusation, to defend your name at every whisper, to clarify every misunderstanding. But maturity has taught you that explanations don't always bring clarity. Sometimes they only invite more confusion. Silence steps in and says, I will not feed what was sent to starve me. When you stop responding to unnecessary noise, you starve the distraction and strengthen your direction. Silence gives you the advantage. While others are busy talking, you are watching. While others are reacting, you are discerning. While others are leaking energy through arguments and opinions, you are conserving strength for what truly matters. There is power in being quiet enough to hear what is really going on beneath the surface. Noise talks loud but says little. Silence listens deep and understands much. Some voices are designed to pull you out of position. They provoke not because they want resolution, but because they want reaction. They want to see you abandon your discipline, your character, your calm. Silence refuses to play that game. Silence is how you keep your footing when the ground is shaking. It is how you stay anchored when everything around you is trying to move you out of alignment. When you stay silent, you give wisdom time to rise. You allow emotions to settle so decisions are not made in heat but in truth. Silence slows you down just enough to recognize traps before you step into them. Many people lost years, relationships, and opportunities not because they lacked talent, but because they spoke too soon. Silence protects your future from the damage of premature words. There is also a spiritual dimension to silence. In the quiet, you can hear direction that noise would drown out. In the stillness, clarity becomes sharper. You begin to sense what is worth your response and what is meant to be released. Silence is not the absence of power, it is power under control. It is the ability to hold your tongue while holding your ground. Silence confuses those who expected you to react. They were prepared for your anger, your defense, your explanation. They were not prepared for your restraint. Your quiet becomes unsettling because it removes their leverage. When you don't respond, you take away their control. And in that moment, silence does what words never could. It keeps you focused, protected, and moving forward without losing yourself in the noise. Not every attack is meant to be fought because some battles are distractions dressed up as emergencies. They come loudly, urgently, emotionally charged, demanding your attention right now. They try to convince you that if you don't respond immediately, you are weak, afraid, or losing ground. But wisdom teaches you that urgency is often the language of manipulation. The enemy knows if it can rush you, it can rule you. Discernment steps in and asks a deeper question: is this an attack on my destiny or an invitation to abandon my focus? There are confrontations that grow stronger the moment you engage them. They thrive on your reaction. They feed on your frustration. They gain power when you give them time, words, and emotional energy. Fighting everything leaves you exhausted, not victorious. You may win the argument and still lose your peace. You may prove your point and still derail your purpose. Victory is not always about confrontation. Sometimes it is about refusal. Strength is knowing when to stand your ground and when to walk away without explanation. It takes maturity to realize that silence and distance can be more powerful than debate. Some people are not seeking understanding, they are seeking access. They want to pull you into their chaos so they can feel relevant. Ignoring certain attacks is not cowardice, it is clarity. You are saying, this does not have permission to occupy my mind. There is a difference between a battle that builds you and a battle that drains you. Some conflicts refine your character, sharpen your faith, and align you with your calling. Others only agitate your emotions and pull you backward into old patterns. Discernment teaches you to tell the difference. Just because something comes against you does not mean it is assigned to you. Some doors are meant to stay closed, even if someone keeps knocking. When you stop fighting every attack, you reclaim your energy. You realize that peace is not found in proving yourself, but in preserving yourself. You don't need to attend every argument you're invited to. You don't need to answer every critic. You don't need to correct every lie. Sometimes truth does not need a defense. Time will do the explaining. Ignoring the wrong battles makes room for the right ones. When you conserve your strength, you are prepared for moments that truly matter. You show up focused, clear, and grounded instead of depleted and reactive. There are victories waiting for you that require your full attention, and you cannot afford to waste it on fights that were never meant to be won. The greatest freedom comes when you realize that walking away does not mean you lost. It means you chose yourself. It means you valued your peace over your pride. It means you understood that your purpose is too important to be delayed by every provocation. Some attacks are defeated not by confrontation, but by being ignored. And when you master that truth, you stop fighting distractions and start walking in direction. Peace is power, especially when chaos is expecting a reaction from you. Chaos thrives on movement, on noise, on emotional turbulence. It waits for you to flinch, to lash out, to explain yourself, to prove something. The moment you react, chaos feels validated. It knows it has access to your emotions and influence over your behavior. But when you choose peace in the face of disorder, you break the pattern. You interrupt the cycle. You refuse to be predictable. Reaction is easy. It requires no discipline, no foresight, no restraint. Peace, on the other hand, is intentional. It is a decision made before the storm arrives. It is the quiet confidence that says, I don't need to move just because everything around me is moving. When you remain peaceful, you are not ignoring reality. You are controlling how reality affects you. That control is power. There is something unsettling about a person who stays calm when they are provoked. It disarms those who expected anger. It frustrates those who were prepared for drama. Peace removes the leverage that chaos depends on. When there is no reaction, confusion sets in. When there is no emotional outburst, the disturbance loses momentum. Peace does not argue, it outlasts. Peace gives you clarity, while chaos clouds judgment and pushes impulsive decisions. Peace creates space to think, to see, to discern. In that space, wisdom speaks. You begin to recognize motives instead of just messages. You see patterns instead of isolated incidents. Peace allows you to respond strategically or not respond at all instead of reacting emotionally. That is where authority lives. Choosing peace is not about being passive. It is about being powerful enough to restrain yourself. You are not surrendering your position. You are securing it. You are saying that your inner world is not up for negotiation. No one gets to dictate your mood, your direction, or your destiny. Peace stands guard at the door of your mind and filters what is allowed in. When chaos sees that it cannot disturb you, it moves on. It looks for easier targets, people who are still ruled by impulse and insecurity. Your peace becomes your protection. It keeps you from saying things you would later regret. It shields your relationships, your reputation, and your future from unnecessary damage. Many lives were altered not by major mistakes, but by one unguarded reaction in a chaotic moment. Peace also sets a standard. It teaches others how to approach you. It communicates that access to you requires respect and intention. When you refuse to engage in chaos, you redefine the environment. You shift the atmosphere from confusion to composure. And in that shift, you rise above the noise without ever raising your voice. This is why peace is power. It does not need to announce itself. It does not need to defend itself. It simply stands firm while chaos burns itself out. And when the dust settles, peace is still standing, steady, clear, and undefeated. Mastering your inner world is one of the most important disciplines you will ever develop, because your outer life will always follow the condition of your inner life. You can change environments, positions, relationships, and opportunities, but if your inner world is chaotic, that chaos will eventually leak into everything you touch. When you learn to govern your thoughts, emotions, and reactions, you are not just protecting your peace in the moment, you are safeguarding your future. Many people lose tomorrow because they failed to manage today's emotions. A single moment of uncontrolled anger, insecurity, or fear can undo years of hard work. Words spoken in haste cannot always be retrieved. Decisions made in emotional turbulence often lead to regret. Mastery is the ability to pause, to reflect, and to choose wisely even when you are under pressure. That pause becomes a shield, protecting you from self-inflicted wounds. Your inner world is where battles are won or lost long before they appear in the open. What you rehearse in your mind shapes how you respond in real life. If you constantly replay offense, betrayal, or fear, you prepare yourself to react from a wounded place. But when you cultivate inner calm, you build resilience. You become less fragile, less reactive, and more anchored. External circumstances may shift, but your foundation remains intact. Protecting your inner world means recognizing that not everything deserves your emotional investment. Some situations are temporary, but emotional reactions can have permanent consequences. When you learn to detach from unnecessary drama, you create space for purpose to grow. Focus sharpens, vision clears. Energy is no longer wasted on survival mode, but directed toward building what matters. Your future depends on how you handle pressure today. Opportunities often arrive disguised as stress, delay, or opposition. If your inner world is unmanaged, pressure will crush you. But if your inner world is disciplined, pressure will refine you. The same heat that melts wax-hardened steel. Mastery determines which one you become. There is also freedom in inner mastery. You are no longer controlled by other people's moods, opinions, or behavior. Their anger does not infect you. Their disrespect does not define you. Their chaos does not redirect you. You carry stability within yourself. That stability becomes magnetic. It attracts trust, leadership, and influence. People sense when someone is grounded and they respond differently. When you master your inner world, you stop sabotaging your own progress. You stop saying the wrong thing at the wrong time. You stop making emotional decisions that delay your destiny. You begin to move with intention instead of impulse. That is how futures are protected, not by luck, but by discipline. Inner mastery is quiet, but its results are loud. It shows up in consistency, clarity, and composure. It preserves your relationships, strengthens your leadership, and guards the path ahead of you. When your inner world is in order, your future is no longer fragile. It becomes focused, protected, and powerful. When nothing disturbs you, nothing can derail you, because derailment always begins on the inside before it ever shows up on the outside. Life does not knock you off course all at once. It nudges you, irritates you, provokes you, and slowly pulls you away from your direction through distraction. The ability to remain undisturbed is not about living without problems, but about refusing to let problems reposition you. Disturbance is subtle. It starts as a thought you keep replaying, a comment you can't forget, a delay that frustrates you, a setback that shakes your confidence. If you allow those moments to settle deep inside you, they begin to influence your decisions. You stop moving with clarity and start moving with emotion. You lose patience, you lose focus. And before you realize it, you are no longer where you intended to be. Remaining undisturbed protects you from these quiet detours. Focus is fragile. It does not require a catastrophe to be broken. It only needs consistent irritation. When you stay internally steady, you protect your ability to see long-term rather than react short-term. You stop making decisions based on mood and start making decisions based on mission. That is how direction is maintained. Calm endurance outlasts emotional bursts. When nothing disturbs you, you become anchored. Anchors do not stop storms, but they prevent drifting. External pressure may increase, but your internal position remains fixed. You are not easily swayed by opinions, intimidated by opposition, or discouraged by delay. You understand that progress is rarely loud and that growth often happens quietly beneath the surface. Remaining undisturbed keeps you rooted while everything else is shifting. There is also confidence in being undisturbed, not the loud, performative kind, but the deep assurance that comes from knowing who you are and where you are going. When you are secure, you don't chase validation. You don't panic when plans change. You don't abandon your values under pressure. Your stability becomes evidence that your direction is intentional, not accidental. Being undisturbed does not mean being disconnected or indifferent. It means you feel without being controlled. You acknowledge disappointment without letting it define you. You face obstacles without allowing them to shrink your vision. You learn, adjust, and continue without losing yourself in the process. That emotional steadiness allows you to adapt without compromising your purpose. Many people were not stopped by failure. They were sidetracked by disturbance. They allowed frustration to interrupt consistency. They allowed offense to poison momentum. They allowed fear to slow their steps. Remaining undisturbed is how you stay in motion even when progress feels slow. It keeps you aligned when results are delayed. When nothing disturbs you, you move with clarity, patience, and resilience. You are not easily shaken, easily offended, or easily distracted. And because of that, you remain on course. Destinies are not lost in one moment. They are drifted away from over time. Remaining undisturbed ensures that no matter what rises around you, your path stays intact and your purpose stays in front of you. Listen to me now. This is the word you've been waiting for. Life will try to shake you, provoke you, and pull you off course. People will speak when they should be silent. Storms will rise when the sun is shining. But I'm telling you today, your peace is not for sale. Your silence is not weakness. Your calm is not a compromise. It is a declaration. It is a boundary. It is a shield. When you master your inner world, when you refuse to be disturbed, when you walk through chaos without losing your composure, you step into a level of power that no enemy, no circumstance, no delay can touch. So rise up, stand firm, be calm, stay silent, and let nothing disturb you. The world may rage, but your destiny is unstoppable, your purpose is unshakable, and your victory is already written.